Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. In this week's news, a couple was caught stealing packages from porches. New technology makes voting more accessible, and the Oxford Fire Department hosted an open house.
Stay tuned, learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. A Flushing couple who were supposed to be working on cable lines last week instead spent their time allegedly swiping packages from homes in Oxford and Brandon townships. 26-year-old Daniel Terrell Gregory Smith, 24-year-old Jamie Elaine Hunter, who lived together in Flushing, were arrested and arraigned in Clarkston 52-2 District Court. The couple were identified and caught after a homeowner victim released surveillance footage to Facebook. Smith is facing a felony charge of larceny for stealing property worth at least $1,000. If convicted, he faces up to 5 years in prison and/or a fine not more than $10,000 or 3 times the value of the stolen property, whichever is greater. Hunter was charged with larceny for stealing property valued between $200 and less than $1,000, a misdemeanor. If convicted, she faces up to 1 year in jail and/or a fine of not more than $2,000 or 3 times the value of the stolen property, whichever is greater.
Last week, interim Oxford Village Manager Evan Teach and Village President Sue Basardi asked the township officials if they would be willing to contribute $150,000 towards improving the downtown's streetscape when the Michigan Department of Transportation commits to a major reconstruction project through the downtown corridor in 2019. Village officials are anticipating applying to receive grant monies from the state, and if successful, the state will provide generous matching grant funds of $2 for every $1 the village and the DDA and hopefully the township partnership will invest. While Township Treasurer Joe Ferrari states one entity cannot legally loan to another municipality, Township Supervisor Bill Dunn expressed an interest in assisting with the downtown improvement, citing to be part of the township.
Folks with disabilities who are unable to vote using a traditional paper ballot or who find the voting experience to be difficult will be glad to know that there is a new technology available at all the polls in Oakland County to make the democratic process easier and more accessible. Made by Hart InterCivic Incorporated, a company based in Austin, Texas, the Variety Touch Writer is a new portable touchscreen ballot marking device that includes an audio ballot reader and can accommodate various adapted services. Oxford Township has 5 of these devices and will be used in the November 7th election. The cost of the new machine is $3,000 each and were paid for by the federal funds, according to Oxford Township Clerk Curtis Wright. The new technology was unveiled last week to a number of potential users in the loft at classroom at Oxford High School.
Early detection is the key to preventing and successfully treating almost any medical condition, and the Oxford American Legion Post 108 is once again opening its doors to local veterans and their families to keep their vision sharp. On Saturday, October 7th, that's coming up soon, veterans, active duty military personnel, and their families are invited to receive free comprehensive eye care from a group of ophthalmologists and technicians from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. According to Post 108 Commander Rick Moorhead, people who do not have military connections are also invited to see the doctors free of charge. This year's event is open to all individuals who need eye care but lack the insurance or income to make it happen.
To kick off National Fire Prevention Week, the Oxford Fire Department had its annual open house on Sunday, October 1st from noon to 4 p.m. It was held at Fire Station Number 1. Activities included fire extinguisher demonstrations, a smokehouse, fire truck viewing, spraying a real fire hose, face painting, a CPR station, free vital signs check, an extrication demonstration, and visit from an air ambulance. Refreshments, hot dogs, chips, and cookies were served.
Oxford's fire department just scored a huge federal grant to hire someone to help beef up its ranks and ensure their personnel stays with the department. Last week, the Township Board voted 7-0 to accept over $300,000 from a grant from the Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response Program, which is through the Federal Emergency Management Agency. SAFER purpose is to protect the health and safety of the public and the firefighting personnel against fire and fire-related hazards. Oxford will use the money to fund a full-time recruitment retention officer for a 4-year period. That's it for Oxford News this week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories and others, you can pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or better yet, catch us on our website, which is OCCTV.org, or YouTube, and of course on your regular cable channels, Charter Channel 191 or AT&T Channel 99.
Coming up soon, OCTV's very own Cody Wright with the sports report, and John Ochins is back with school news, and you won't want to miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Terry Stiles. Thanks for watching Oxford News this week, where we bring your news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, 1 in 12 deaths could be prevented with 30 minutes of physical activity 5 days a week. That's the conclusion from the world's largest study of physical activity, which analyzed data from more than 130,000 people across 17 countries. At the start of the study, participants provided information on their socioeconomic status, lifestyle behaviors, and medical history. They also answered a questionnaire about the physical activity they complete over a typical week. Participants were followed up at least every 3 years to record information about cardiovascular disease and death for almost 7 years. Over the period studied, Scott Lear from McMaster University in Canada and his colleagues found that 150 minutes of activity per week reduced the risk of death from any cause by 28% and rates of heart disease by a fifth. Being highly active was associated with even greater benefits. People who spent more than 750 minutes walking briskly each week reduced their risk of premature death by 36%. Results showed that it wasn't necessary to run, swim, or work out at the gym. Household chores such as vacuuming or scrubbing the floor or merely walking to work provided enough exercise to protect the heart and extend life. The World Health Organization recommends that adults aged 18 to 64 do at least 150 minutes of moderate physical activity throughout the week, as well as muscle strengthening exercises at least 2 days a week. The study found that if the world's population met these guidelines, 8% of global deaths over 7 years would be prevented. The clear-cut results reinforce the message that exercise truly is the best medicine at our disposal for reducing the odds of early death, says James Rudd, senior lecturer in cardiovascular medicine at the University of Cambridge. Wow. In our next story, all earthquakes look the same when they start, so it is unlikely that we could predict which will prove most devastating from our early observations. Early warning systems rely on seismometers picking up tremors before major shaking starts. Even a few seconds warning can make a lot of difference, says Daniel Trugman at the Scripps Institute of Technology in La Jolla, California. Mexico got a 10 to 15 second alert before its latest quake, says Men Andren Meyer at the California Institute of Technology in Pasadena. But such warning systems must estimate the size of an earthquake before the earliest tremors. Meyer had hoped to show that small and large earthquakes start differently, revealing the big ones right away. Our results show that such hopes are not realistic, he says. Earthquakes grow until they hit a peak and then they decay. When Meyer and his colleagues analyzed 116 large earthquakes from the past 3 decades, they found that they all grew at steady rates. Different size earthquakes were statistically indistinguishable until they reached their peak. Too bad. In our next story, older fathers pass on more genetic mutations to their children than older mothers do. The team behind the discovery hopes to understand how such mutations put children at risk for rare diseases. The new mutations are genetic alterations that appear for the first time in embryos rather than being carried for generations. A large percentage of rare diseases in children are rooted in mutations that are not found in their parents, says Kari Stephenson of Decode Genetics based in Iceland. To find out where these mutations are coming from, Stephenson and his team sequenced the genomes of 14,688 Icelanders, including parents and their children. They discovered that 80% of new mutations come from the father, and the number of mutations increases with the age of the parents. This makes sense. Women are born with all the eggs they will ever have. These cells aren't thought to divide. Men, on the other hand, are continually making sperm, and every cell division carries the risk of creating a new genetic mutation. Wow. In our last story, Facebook and Microsoft have added another connection between the U.S. and Europe. The 4,039-mile, 10.1 million pound undersea cable known as Maria boasts the highest capacity of any Atlantic cable to date. It can ferry 160 terabytes of data per second, equivalent to streaming 71 million HD videos at the same time, and it's due to come online in 2018, so tune up those cell phones. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update. If you're in Oxford, you know that there'll be a bond and sinking fund choice on the ballot this November. The need here is to garner funds to enable our schools to replace badly needed items that are wearing out and out of date. I had a chance to take a tour of some of our facilities with Superintendent of Finance, Sam Barna, and our Chief of Maintenance, Tony Sarkins. One item in need of replacing is a huge air handler on the high school.
This is Air Handling Unit 1, AHU-1, and it supplies air conditioning to the 300, 400, and 500 hallways within at OHS.
You'd have to get a really good sized crane in here. You could possibly do it with a helicopter lift. But this will come out in pieces, and depending on what we come back in with designs, the newer equipment is probably more efficient and smaller, and we may be able to put multiple units up here instead of going back with a big single unit. I'd like to see that if we can afford it. But that's kind of the consensus, is that we get this at least replaced. If we can improve on this and put multiple units up here, I think that would be a better game plan.
There are also many roof issues that need addressing.
What? This is on the high school, and this is just outside of the cafeteria. And this roof here is existing. This was built with it's an old Mansville roof. It was built with the existing middle school, which is now the high school, the 3, 4, 500 wing, and it's part of the cafeteria area. And that roof over there, that skylight that's up there, that's part of Main Street. This whole roof section has to be replaced and down through the corridor in the back here. It's just at the end of its life cycle.
Assistant Superintendent of Finance, Sam Barna, explains what will appear on the ballot in November.
So we have two proposals on the November 7th, 2017 ballot. The largest is a $28.28 million bond. The bond is for basically a large amount of projects within the district. I will say air conditioning at all the elementary schools, also new roofing in certain sections of the high school. There's also a large component of new sidewalk replacement, as well as across the district, new parking lots.
So that will not affect anybody's taxes?
We don't foresee any increases in taxes if that bond passes.
Is that because it replaces something else that was in force before?
So every year, the school district, any school district in the state of Michigan, for that matter, has a certain amount of debt on their books for past bonds. And so, just like any other district, we are paying off both principal and interest on our current debt. And so that enables us to, with our current 7.9 million, our 7.9 debt mills, that enables us, since we're paying off both debt and principal, I should say principal and interest for that past debt, it enables us to have additional debt that we could take on to do needed improvements that I've just explained to you. In addition to the bond that I just discussed, there's also a $4 million sinking fund. And what that is a 0.75 mils, so it is an added cost to the district taxpayers if it is approved on November 7th. And it would be 0.75 mils each of the next 5 years. And so how do you equate that as to a tax increase for your average homeowner or property owner is every $100,000 of taxable value of property is an additional $75 per year over the next 5 years as well.
In case you're getting hungry, there's a new stir-fry line at our high school cafeteria. Actually, it was tried late last year, but it's back by popular demand. Here's Karen Bissett, our Nutritional Services Director.
But it has been very popular, and we are very excited that we brought it back this year because it was such a success. It's our stir-fry line, so each day the students are able to pick up a bowl and they can have their choice of all the different items of fruits and vegetables. Then they give it to one of our servers and they cook it fresh with, and they have, there's possibility of 8 different sauces. They have beef, grilled chicken, crispy chicken, and on Fridays we also offer shrimp as an option with noodles or rice cooked special for them, just the way they like it.
And this happens in a timely manner?
We can get all the students through the lunch line with no problem.
That's the Oxford School Update for this week. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
What's going on, Oxford fans? Cody Wright here with the Sports Report. We've had a busy schedule and a lot happening, so let's dive in and check it out. Boys soccer took on Royal Oak here at home on Tuesday in what turned out to be an exciting match. We were down in the last quarter when we managed to bring the score back even and finished with a tie of 2-2. The boys tennis team also took on Ferndale at home as well. On Monday, things have been going pretty well for the team this year, and we continued that with a 6-2 win. But on the flip side, our football club is struggling to get things going. Our first home game against Clarkston last Friday didn't go the way we'd wished when we lost to a tough score of 48-0. Thursday, the JV and freshman teams both took on West Bloomfield at home. The JV team struggled and lost 42-25. However, the freshmen told a different story and pulled off a solid win of 24-0. The girls swim and dive team dove in home waters against Southfield Luthrop last week. The meet ended with a win, our total of 142 to their 28. And of course, last but not least, our girls volleyball. We took on Lake Orion Thursday night here at home, and we have been struggling to finish with a win so far this year. However, we are showing progress in playing solid matches overall. The JV team played first and lost in all 3 matches. And the varsity, however, lost in all 3 matches, 25-20, 25-17, and 25-19. A quick reminder, the girls and boys cross country teams will both be competing in a tournament meet on October 7th. Competing schools include Holly, Milford, West Bloomfield, and Novi. Go to oxfordathletics.org for more details on that. Also, if you're looking for anything from final scores, event locations, stats, and rosters, they can all be found at oxfordathletics.org. While you're at it, go check us out at occtv.org. Our coverage of the games, which is on YouTube, you can access that through the website along with many other programs we put together for you. That is occtv.org. And that should wrap up this week's report. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget to tune in next time. I'm Cody Wright. Go Wildcats.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Toyota Motor Corporation will partner with Mazda Corporation and auto parts supplier Denso Corporation to form a joint venture for developing electric vehicles as Japan's biggest automaker plays catch-up in the expanding race for battery-driven cars. The new company, called EV Common Architecture Spirit Company, will cooperate on developing the architecture and components of electric cars for use in a wide range of segments, from mini vehicles and SUVs to light trucks, the company said on September 28th. The partnership will create a toolbox of components that both Toyota and Mazda can dip into when making their own electric vehicles. The deal builds on a fledgling alliance between the company's largest automakers and one of its smallest that was cemented in August. The companies announced a capital tie-up then, saying they would work together in a variety of fields, including electric cars. Toyota Executive Vice President, that is, Shigeki Terashi, said at the time that sharing technology would give Mazda and Toyota extra volume and drive down costs. The new Toyota company will pull select engineers from all three companies and have about 40 employees. It will be based in Toyota's high-rise building in downtown Nagoya. Toyota will wield disproportional influence. It will hold a 90% stake in EVCA Spirit, while Mazda and Denso each take 5%. The two directors under Terashi also come from Toyota. They are Kiyotaka Issei, head of Toyota's advanced R&D engineering, and Toshiyuki Mitsushima, president of the car maker's powertrain subcompany. More than 2 years after inking a loose tie-up, Toyota and Mazda agreed to take capital stakes in each other about 2 months ago. Toyota said it would take a 5% stake in Mazda, while Mazda reciprocates with a token 0.25% stake in Toyota. As part of the Mazda deal, the car makers will build a joint venture assembly plant in the U.S. And over in England, James Tyson, billionaire inventor of the bagless vacuum cleaner, said on September 28th his company was building an electric car that will launch by 2020. Dyson is the latest company to challenge traditional car makers in a burgeoning market. Tesla has already shaken up the sector around the world, and Dyson said it will now spend $2.7 billion on solid-state battery technology and vehicle design. Dyson has been developing new battery and electric motor technology for its vacuum cleaners and other products for the past 20 years, he says. Dyson told staff in an email that the company finally had the opportunity to bring all its technologies together into a single product. Competition for new technology in the automotive industry is fierce, and we must do everything we can to keep the specifics of our vehicle confidential, he added. Dyson said a 400-strong team of engineers had already spent 2.5 years working on the secret project in Malmesbury, England, developing the batteries that will power the in-house designed electric motor for the car. The company has yet to decide on where the vehicle would be manufactured, although it has ruled out working with any existing companies, Dyson said. And on the recall front, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles is recalling 50,000 Pacifica minivans in the U.S. and Canada following a company-issued report that said fast driving could cause a second-row seatbelt to unbuckle. The recall applies to certain 2017 and 2018 Pacifica minivans with 8-passenger seating option. The second-row center seat can inadvertently cause the left outboard seat belt to unlatch in cases where the vehicle undergoes extreme handling maneuvers, FCA said in a statement on September 20th. This happens when the buckle's release button comes in contact with an adjacent buckle. The recall affects roughly 48,000 vehicles in the U.S. and 1,900 vehicles in Canada, according to FCA. Dealerships will replace the faulty second-row seatbelts with those that are 19 millimeters shorter in the webbing length, according to a report released by U.S. safety regulators. The recall is scheduled to begin on October 20th. The issue was revealed during a test conducted by the company's Interior Restraints Engineering Department and reported on May 12th, documents say. The automaker says it's not aware of any injuries pertaining to the issue and says customers will be alerted when the service is made available. In the meantime, the company advises customers to refrain from using the second-row center seatbelt if other second-row seats are occupied. The recall comes on the heels of a worldwide recall by the automaker on September 19th that affects 494,000 Ram pickups. The water pump in those vehicles could overheat and potentially cause a fire. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Hi, I'm Julie Hogan. Welcome to your weekly calendar of events, where we feature your weekly community events for Oxford and Addison Township, including charity, special fundraisers, and general community information. If you or your organization would like us to help you get your message out to our viewing public, please contact us at 248-628-9658 or go to our website, occtv.org. Are you a senior who is homebound and unable to prepare your own meals? If so, Meals on Wheels can help. Meals on Wheels provides a hot meal delivered by a friendly visitor who will check on you or a loved one every weekday. The Area Agency on Aging 1B helps support the Meals on Wheels program and provides funding for this wonderful program for 6 counties. Recipients can also make a voluntary donation to help offset the cost to provide this service. Meals are delivered by volunteers who often take a few minutes to talk with the seniors on their route. Sometimes the volunteers and seniors get to know each other quite well, and it can be nice for the senior to be able to count on seeing that volunteer every weekday. If you're interested in receiving Meals on Wheels for yourself or a loved one and want more information or to see if you qualify, contact the Older Persons Commission at 248-608-0264 or go to the Area Agency on Aging website at aaa1b.org. Gather your friends and register early to reserve your spot for the annual Halloween Road Rally hosted by the Oxford Township Parks and Rec Department. Enjoy an evening of fun as you travel throughout Oxford solving puzzles and clues which will lead you to the final destination. This festive event will be held on Saturday, October 14th at 5:30 p.m. Cost is $120 for a team of 4 adults over the age of 18 with a $5 discount for each Oxford resident and includes great prizes and buffet-style dinner after the rally. Pull together a team costume and receive bonus points as well. Space is limited, so be sure to register early. To register, be sure to stop by the new Parks and Rec office located in the Seymour Lake Park at 2795 Seymour Lake Road or call 248-628-1720. The Oxford Downtown Development Authority is celebrating autumn in downtown Oxford. The annual Scarecrow Festival will take place on Saturday, October 14th in Centennial Park in downtown Oxford. The event features a scarecrow contest with scarecrows displayed in front of businesses and homes throughout Oxford. All contest winners will be announced at 3:30 p.m. in Centennial Park. Whether you appreciate great fall foods or are just looking for something to do with the family, the Scarecrow Festival will have something for everyone of all ages. Festivities begin in Centennial Park at 10 a.m. For a complete list of all the great activities and info on how to join in on the contest, go to the DDA's website at www.downtownoxford.org or call 248-770-8587. Speaking of festivals, why not continue the festivities with Oktoberfest, hosted by Homegrown Brewery on Saturday, October 14th. The brewery, located at 28 North Washington Street in Oxford, will tempt you with specialty beers, German food, contests, raffles, and music from noon till midnight. Lederhosen are optional. For more information, contact Homegrown Brewery at 248-800-4244 or go to their website at homegrownbrewcompany.com or visit their Facebook page. The Oxford Public Library will continue to host its Thursday night music in the atrium for your listening pleasure. In continuing the tradition of downtown Oxford's Thursday night concerts in the park, the library is hosting a variety of great musical groups on Thursday evenings. The next musical group, Crosswalk, will perform Thursday, October 12th at 7 p.m. and will entertain you with light rock, country, and Christian music. Hope to see you there. If you own a business, belong to an organization, or are a local resident wishing to show your support for our school programs, music concerts, or any of the many programs broadcast by our TV station, you can become a sponsor or underwriter for OCTV. A promotional spot will be created just for you, and our broadcast announcers will give you continuous recognition. It's a great way to promote your organization. For more info, contact our station manager, Bill Service, at 248-628-9658 or email him at manager@occtv.org. Also, don't forget you can locate our OCTV program schedule by going to our website and clicking on Schedule. There you'll find a list of great OCTV programs, dates, and times. One program I highly recommend is Schooling Around, hosted by John Ochins. John gives us interesting and inspiring insight into the great stuff going on behind the scenes in our local schools. His in-depth interviews will give you a new appreciation for the dedicated people who work so hard for our community of families and their children. Check it out. I'm Julie Hogan, and this is Oxford Community TV's weekly calendar of events. Join us next week to learn more about new and exciting news happening in your neighborhood. Until then, make it a great week, and thank you for watching.